Thank you for joining us for Season 5 of the Hospitality Hangout, hospitality-focused podcast where the founders of Branded Strategic share their insights and bring technology and innovation leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the Finance Guy, and I'd like to introduce my partner, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, also known as the Restaurant Guy.
Restaurant Guy. Hey, thanks for that introduction, Jimmy. To all those listening, feel free to call me Shatsy. Together, we are the personalities behind Branded Strategic Hospitality. We work at the intersection of hospitality, technology, innovation, and capital. You know, Jimmy, I cannot believe this is Season 5.
Season 5, all season long.
They renewed us?
They renewed us. They keep coming back for more. Every time I try to get out, they keep pulling me back in.
I got to tell you, we're so good with the Godfather references, Jimmy. Hey, listen, before we kick off, because we got a great guest today, great guest, super excited. I think probably, Jimmy, one of the most famous guests we've ever had on the podcast.
I do think we have a celebrity today. We have
a celebrity. But before I get into it, Jimmy, you know, I played golf yesterday, Jimmy, at a golf outing, and I couldn't focus. I couldn't concentrate. You know why I couldn't concentrate? Because all I was thinking about is this podcast. And I'm thinking about the marketplace. What is the marketplace?
I have no idea. What's the marketplace?
Jimmy, it is an e-commerce platform built by hospitality for hospitality. It is the best-in-class technology, innovation, professional services, suppliers, everything that you need in the hospitality industry to run your business today can be found at the Branded Marketplace. Just go to the Branded Marketplace, check it out. And if you want to be on the marketplace, Jimmy, if you want to be on the marketplace, all you got to do is email us at marketplace@brandedstrategic.com and you can get on the marketplace. And Jimmy, do you know what it costs to be on the marketplace?
It must be very expensive. It has to be very expensive.
No, Jimmy, that's the crazy thing. It's not expensive. It's free. It's free for everybody. All sides.
Free. How are we making money on free?
Jimmy, I learned a long time ago, volume. You make it up in volume. And our guest knows a little bit about volume. So we're having a good time with the marketplace. Check it out. And I can't talk about it anymore because I got to focus on my golf game.
There you go. You're verklempt. Take a moment.
I'm verklempt.
Jeff and I will talk. You catch your breath. All right.
Please.
Listen, thank you for that, Shatsy. We are very excited about today's guest, Mr. Geoff Alexander, President and CEO of Wow Bao, and a very good friend of ours. And look, we like to say it's easier for us to brag and boast about people than they can brag and boast about themselves. So let me just highlight and why Shats and I were so excited about the podcast, and we're designating him as maybe the biggest hospitality celebrity we've ever had. Geoff has recently been listed as one of the most influential restaurant CEOs in the country by Nation's Restaurant News,
but he wasn't like top 10, Jimmy. He wasn't top 10.
And in Fast Casual's list of top executives, he was ranked not 10, not 9. Do the countdown, number 1.
Now you understand why I said he's the most famous guest we've ever had.
There you go, Shatsy. We'll talk after the show about things that you've been ranked number 1 after the show, though. Okay,
it's going to be a short conversation, Jimmy.
We bantered a little bit. We've had a little fun. Let's jump into the show. We'll let you take the lead and give a little introduction and background on yourself, and of course, Wow Bao.
Well, guys, first of all, thanks for having me. And I will tell you, I don't know if I can do a better job of introducing myself than you guys did, but I'll give it a shot.
Built you up big. Don't let us down. Don't let the guests down.
I know.
A lot of pressure.
Right. This is really like a lot of pressure for this podcast here. But okay. Geoff Alexander, President CEO of Wow Bao, joined Let Us Entertain You Enterprises back in 1993. It's a privately held restaurant group. Started in 1971 by Rich Melman. In the 50 years of Lettuce, we've created.
I think he's the only one more famous than you, by the way. We have to
I appreciate that. Let's make sure that he knows he's more famous than me. Lettuce has created over 220 different brands in its 50 years. Currently operating about 160 restaurants among 60 different concepts, give or take, in 6 states. I've worked on 12 different concepts, give or take, in my tenure with Lettuce. It's coming up on 29 years in May. In 2009, I took over the concept Wow Bao. It's a 3-unit brick and mortar store in Chicago serving steamed Asian buns, potstickers, and rice bowl. Once I took it over in 2009, the following year, we introduced self-ordering kiosks, which nobody was doing back in 2010 except for airports, movie theaters, and ATM bank machines. We started doing mobile desktop ordering. We started doing food trucks, airports, college campuses over the time. And then we also got involved with CPG with a grocery line, grew the brand a number of different ways. And in 2017, a private equity firm took a majority stake to fund our growth named Valor Equity Partners. Following couple of years, we opened up fully automated restaurants with no front of the house people whatsoever, where your food came through automatic LED computer monitor cubbies that were personalized. And in the last year, since April of 2020 through today of October, whatever today is, we've opened 450 dark kitchens across the country, and we're on track to break 500 by the end of this month.
I love it. And if anyone
Thank you, everybody. That's enough. That's enough. Jimmy, we can't say that's enough. That's it. This podcast is over. What more can you get?
Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Yeah, that's enough. I mean, he said it all.
I was saying, Geoff was doing a big mic drop. It leaves us speechless, but not really. We're going to keep it going. No, Geoff, thank you for that. That's great. Let me start off by asking you, kind of one of those which came first scenarios for Wow Bao. But rather than talking about the chicken and the egg, I'm talking about brick and mortar versus ghost kitchen. Can you share how Wow Bao started? I think our listeners would love to know.
Yeah, thank you. So it actually, in 1999, 98, give or take, we did a tasting for Rich Melman. We had a concept called Big Bowl.
I remember that one in Chicago.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Yep, we grew that thing to eventually 8 stores, and in 2001, we sold it off to Brinker International. They took it to 14, then they sold it back to Lettuce eventually. But in 98, give or take, 97,
for half the price.
That's how we wheel and deal. We did this tasting for Rich, and it was Bao at the time. And Bao is simply steamed. It's, for those who don't know it, it's about the size of a tennis ball with meat and vegetables inside, fully enclosed. And Rich stopped the tasting when we were showing this appetizer and thought, we could do a whole concept that just serves these dumplings. And Rich has a filing cabinets throughout his office that are just different concepts and ideas he puts together. And he filed Wow Bao, or the Bao, as a concept away. And fast forward to fall of 2000, Water Tower Place Shopping Mall in Chicago offered Let Us Entertain You a place at the front door to sell gift cards during the holiday season. And Lettuce sells a lot of gift cards. So we took the space, we sold gift cards for like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it was. And at the end of the time, they asked us if we wanted to keep the location. There was no black iron, no way to vent. And really, how do we cook in an area when you can't vent? And Rich remembered the tasting, remembered that these were only required steam. We had a way to suck the steam out into the basement through the garage and out the street. So we built a 384 square foot location in 2003, and off to the races we went.
Boom. Schatzy, that size of the first restaurant is bigger than your first apartment.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about that, Jimmy.
We actually gotten smaller. We have a location at DCA Airport in Washington, D.C. It's only 150 square feet.
And I got to tell you, and the volume must be incredible.
Unbelievable. Yes, we are very proud.
Well, listen, everyone loves talking about ghost kitchens. I mean, it's all we hear about. And there's so many different names. We hear ghost kitchen, we hear virtual kitchen, we hear cloud kitchen, and you use the spooky term dark kitchen. Can you give a little bit of a difference and how it relates to Wow Bao? What's the difference, and why are you guys going with dark kitchen?
Yeah, sure. So look, we did not coin any of these phrases. And I think if you ask 10 different people how to define each of these phrases, you're going to get different answers. But for me, a ghost kitchen is a space that does not have a storefront. Right? You're inside the cloud kitchens of the world, the Kitchen Uniteds, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. Then you have a virtual brand or virtual restaurant, which strictly exists in the virtual space. You made it up. It just is only available online. Mm-hmm. Then we took the idea of a dark kitchen, and the idea was there's areas of restaurants that are dark right now. Whether it's it's an area of your kitchen that you're not utilizing, or space in the restaurant that is not being utilized or is underutilized. And we believe we have an ability, based on how we built our model, to allow people to turn the lights back on or start using that area of the kitchen that was dark before. And based on the revenue that we can help operators generate and the profits they can bring to the bottom line, they're able to keep the lights on, keep people employed. And that's how we use the term dark.
Very, very interesting. You see that, Jimmy?
I got to tell you, I like it a lot.
Because a lot of people were throwing dark and virtual and cloud all in the same, but it's really, you've kind of defined it. It's really different.
Yeah, we look at it, it really comes down to how you're interacting with the guests more than anything else, and what kind of an environment you're putting your employees into. And since we're doing work inside of an existing restaurant, we look at it as, we're inside their kitchen and it's giving them space to work.
I like it. I like it a lot. For anyone that listens to the podcast, you guys know that one of our most popular segments, but not the most popular segment, which Shatsy will talk about later. One of the most popular segments is our crystal ball moment, and we'll get to that later. But when where we ask guests, kind of to predict hospitality 2 years from now. However, it's clear to us that you've already been predicting the future. I mean, a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic, you had the vision to create this virtual brand. Can you share with us what foresight you had and what was that aha moment that led you to bring, Bao Dark? I mean, I'm hearing this might have something to do with off-season ice cream stores, but why don't you fill in our guests?
Yeah, thank you. So, look, for the record, I do not have a crystal ball. If I did, I would have won like the $800 million lottery, whatever it was a few years ago. We were sitting around in our offices in November of 2019 talking about how to grow the brand and how we want to continue to evolve Wow Bao. And we already had items in distribution on the national scale because of airports, college campuses, sports stadiums, and so on. And we thought between Lettuce's portfolio of restaurants and network and Valor, our private equity's portfolio of restaurants in their network, why couldn't another restaurant sell our food out their back door, third-party delivery? We thought about the local coffee restaurant or coffee shop, right, that only has 2 day parts. We thought of ice cream stores, to what you just mentioned, that 4 months out of the year in Chicago, it's freezing cold and how many people are eating ice cream. We thought about hotels that are usually in food deserts and they have a full staff to do room service, but nobody's ordering room service, so they're standing around their kitchen. And we thought about catering people, right? They have full kitchens, they do a whole catering order, and then they sort of stand around with nothing to do. And all of these different people could benefit from having an additional revenue stream. So what we do is we sell our product through distribution at a markup. Operators get their product however they work with Cisco, US Foods, whoever it is who distributes. We've already gotten paid. They then resell the product on third-party delivery channels. If you take an average 25% commission for the third parties, and we created a menu that allows for 35% food and packaging combined, that's 60 points. That drops 40% to the bottom line because there's no labor. All you're doing is boiling water. There's no overhead because that's all paid by the main business. So now you have a way to do, $100K in top line sales a year, $2,000 a week, and make $40,000 profit. And we have operators in Michigan who are doing $10K a week, Portland, Oregon doing $9,000 a week. So you can see what their annual run rate is and then how much money they're bringing to the bottom line.
You have anybody that says, I'm not even going to do my concept that I originally had. I'm just going to do Wow Bao. I mean, it just sounds like, why am I even bothering with menu development I'll just buy your product from Cisco, boil it, and it's delicious. I mean, I'm sure I haven't had it this way. I've had it in Chicago, at your first stores. But I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, we got to get you to have the product outside of just Chicago. But, look, what it comes down to is everybody needs more revenue. Right? We all want to make more money. And if you want to go create your own virtual brand, does your packaging keep your hot food hot and your cold food cold? Do you have photography for your third-party apps? Do you have R&D done? All that takes time and money. And it's getting into a business that you've never done before. We're all entrepreneurs. That's how the restaurant business started. So we have now taken everything of our brand, 18-year-old brand that's well-known, well-respected. You can Google us, Yelp us, social us, right? We exist. We have a story. We have a soul. And now you can serve the product. And we've also cracked the code on how to market the product. We've cracked the code on the relationships with the third parties, distribution. We've made it really wow bao in a box to make it easy for any operator.
No, it's really unbelievable. So we started touching a little bit on marketing. So let's talk about it. So since April 2020, you've added 500 virtual kitchens. How do you spread the word? I mean, you're a Chicago operator. You're in Chicago. Let Us Entertain You is. I mean, you guys are the best around the country. You guys are like the benchmark for high-end multi-unit. I mean, Rich Melman is a god for restaurant operators because what he has done it's 60 brands. I mean, I don't even know, 120 locations, whatever it is. I mean, I don't even know. It's really unbelievable. Like I said, in Chicago, you guys are unbelievable and the envy of most operators around the country, maybe even the world. So now but everyone knows you in Chicago, but we don't know you outside of Chicago. That's always hard. So what kind of things do you do to penetrate other markets and get the word out of Wow Bao? and how unbelievable it is.
Well, first off, I hired Jimmy to give me great introductions every time I do a podcast.
Boom.
That's the number one answer. But look,
That's number one.
Look, I can't give you the full secret sauce because obviously we have competitors who are going to, listen in on this. But here's the general thing.
No one listens to this.
As we enter season 5 here, right? Look, the first is you got to work with local press. Right, so we created a basically. I don't know how old your listeners are, but there's this thing that used to be called Mad Libs. Right,
Jimmy's daughter's 5, and I think she's probably our biggest listener.
Okay, well, get her Mad Libs.
My daughter, and Chatsy's mom. Those are 2 top.
So it goes from 5 to 84.
All right, so people in there will know what Mad Libs are. But we created a press release where you can fill in the blank, right, for what city you're in, who the operators are working with, the menu items, and so on. And we go out to local press and share that. We get involved with social media influencers in those markets. We do paid Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube ads for at launch. We've done great partnerships with the third parties where we're actually on the national carousel for both DoorDash and Uber Eats. So when you open up the app and you look at McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Chipotle, Sweet Green, there's Wow Bao on the national carousel, which gives us great recognition as well as really validity to who the brand is. We do sponsorship ads on the third parties, and then it's really about word of mouth on top of it and what we can do to keep doing promotions and keeping people about who we are. At the end of the day, we're trying to drive all traffic to wowbao.com to help all the operators. It's a lot easier to send everyone to one place.
Right.
We also, we do a lot with SEO search on a national scale. We create individual Facebook pages as well as individual web pages for all of our operators. So if you go into, Fargo, North Dakota and Google Chinese food, hopefully we're the number one search that comes up. And then it actually takes you to a web page in Fargo, North Dakota, where you can just click a button that says order now, and boom, there's Wow Bao's menu.
Man, he's dropping knowledge bombs right now.
I'm on the website now. I'm ordering now.
Chatsy, take notes. All right, listen, I want to stay on topic of the tech stack. And you're hitting on so many of the themes that we've been trying to tell the industry. If we're going to improve margins and have a really thriving industry, you're hitting on them. You got marketing, you got customer feedback, you got loyalty, data are key to today's operators. So I guess my question is, what technology are you, or maybe are you not, using today for your internal operations, or the things that are becoming more important to Wow Bao, or things that are getting maybe some hype and you feel, no, thank you, don't need it, don't want it?
Yeah, look, technology is actually the driving force of every industry, and the restaurant industry has always been far behind it. And every piece of technology that's created for the restaurant industry is never created by restaurant people. But what we use internally to grow our business is we're very heavily involved with Salesforce. We use it as our one true source for our entire organization to communicate about all of our restaurant partners, our locations, from supply chain to training to operations to the account managers. Everyone's on Salesforce to discuss. We use Tableau as a system where we're pulling in all of our different data from the third parties into one place, so we can really look at sales, what's selling, key metrics of how the operations are performing. We have to look at downtime on the tablets. We have to look at customer ratings. We have to look at customer issues, whatever it may be. So that aggregates everything for us. I wish we had real access to customer data. It's all owned by the third parties, so we don't really have access to that. But what we have launched is at wowbao.com, we're using DoorDash's storefront. For those who don't know DoorDash storefront, if you go, you can sign up with DoorDash, and instead of people going to DoorDash.com and finding your restaurant, they go to wowbao.com, and then when you place an order, it actually goes through DoorDash's system to the DoorDash tablet at the operator. By the order coming through wowbao.com, we're able to collect customer data now. So Amazing. We will be able to do better targeting, right? We can use those emails to come in to do better targeted ads. We can eventually start growing databases so we can market to. So there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe of what we're going to do from a technology standpoint. The other side is we don't run any of these locations, right? These are mom and pops or enterprise accounts that we work with. So a lot of the technology is on their side about how they're operating day to day.
Right. I mean, they've bought the product already from their broadliner. So at this point now, you're just kind of acting as almost like I guess kind of like a hybrid franchise operator, so to speak.
Yeah, we stay away from the word franchise.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't use that. I'm saying I don't
call
know the word.
We call it a resale agreement.
Yeah, okay.
We're resellers.
But it's interesting. Well, the good news is, Jimmy, we can order Wow Bao anytime we want because it's in the Flatiron area. The bad news is, Jimmy, they don't open up until 12 o'clock, so we can't order it yet.
Wait. Whoa!
Whoa! Look at it. I can't order, but look what we got here. Looky.
Oh my goodness. We got
Wow Bao.
Wow Bao delivered with I didn't even have to place an order. This is amazing. It just read our minds.
Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. I got a spicy beef.
Staff favorite.
And a BBQ pork, baby.
Number one seller. There you go. Look at that.
This is awesome.
Wow.
We're taking a pause on the Hospitality Hangout, everybody.
Yeah, the trick, guys, is to ask me a question before you take a bite, so I can just sit here and talk while you're eating.
We're rookies.
I'll tell you. So what I was going to until you surprised me with the Wow Bao that I couldn't get till 12 o'clock that I just got at 11:30. What I wanted to say is, if I'm not in the area of a Wow Bao location, so to speak, and I'm not in Chicago, is there a way that I can get Wow Bao? I mean, are you guys into like consumer products? Are you guys in the supermarkets? I mean, what's going on with that?
Well, yes. Well, first off, with our almost 500 locations, we're in 40 plus states right now. So hopefully you can get Wow Bao. But no, we do have a consumer packaged goods line that's in grocery stores. Right now, we're in about 300, give or take, grocery stores in the Midwest. We're getting close to launching a 260 unit grocery chain.
Can you tell us who? Can you tell us who? We need names.
Nothing until we sign deals, right? That's we got to wait with. But that'll be.
Can I just tell everybody we'll see you in Wegmans?
Wouldn't that be
Trader
great?
Joe's.
You can call both of them for me.
Yeah. Geoff, by the way, Schatzy's amazing at keeping secrets. It's just everybody tells.
Yeah,
can't keep a secret.
Exactly. I don't say exactly. Thank you, Jimmy, for letting everyone know that.
And then what about look?
Can I get it shipped to my house?
Yeah, let's go. Goldbelly will do it for you. By all means.
All right. Well, there you go. So Goldbelly will ship it to my house. I can go online at wowbao.com and I can get this anytime. And if not, it's at a lot of supermarkets. And we think, we don't know yet, but we have a good feeling it's going to be at Stop and Shop, Ralph's, Wegmans, Trader Joe's, and Whole Foods very soon.
Any day. Schatz, you're breaking news. In fact, you're even breaking news to Geoff. You're breaking news for him.
Right.
Super excited. He doesn't even know it yet.
Yes, this is delicious. That's a treat. That's a wonderful surprise.
This was great. Thank you.
And I got to say, Geoff, you're making a really good run at being the top of the top guest we've had for season 5 and maybe ever. But we'll talk about that. Sterling Douglas, you're plummeting. Sterling. Okay. I always like getting Sterling in every podcast. All right. It turns out we're going to shift.
We love Sterling and Charlie. We love those guys.
Yes, we do too.
Chicago guy.
Chicago. He's a Chicago guy. All right. It turns out while we started this podcast, because Schatz and I enjoy talking to people, we've learned along the way that guests also sometimes have questions for us. So, Geoff, now it's time for you to do the talk back, where we offer you the chance to ask us questions. And I always like to say, nothing is off the table. You get the mic, Geoff.
Well, thank you. I a lot of pressure. I want to make sure I don't ask a question that's already been asked of you guys. So if it's been asked, I apologize. But here's the question I got. If you could have anybody on this podcast, anybody, live or dead, who would it be? Why would it be that person? And what would you ask him or her?
That's a really good question.
I'm glad I didn't disappoint.
You did not disappoint. Schatz.
And then he had it live or dead. I mean, that just, yay. Jimmy, first of all, I know because I'm gonna say the worst thing.
I don't think you'll say the worst thing. Be honest. Just come up with something. It's off the cuff, baby. We're off the cuff.
Why
am I going first? I thought, Jimmy, you should go.
You always go first. You want me to go first?
I always go first.
You always go first. If you don't want to go first, tell me to go. I'm ready to go.
Rich Melman.
Ooh. Man, your nose is so much up his.
I mean, that's because I said that, Geoff was the best guest, most famous, but Rich would be even more famous. That could catapult us right to a season 6, Jimmy.
All right, I respect that, but man, we got to talk about your love affair. I mean, and again, it's a beautiful thing, but your love of Rich, we got to talk about that. All right, I'm going with a legend as well, and a living legend, and I say this with the absolute hope and I dare say confidence that we might get him on.
I know where you're going with this.
It's Mr. Earl. It's
Robert Earl.
It's Robert Earl from Earl Enterprises.
Well, I got to tell you, Richard Melman, Robert. I mean, these guys are both legends.
You should get them on together. You should put them both on
you went
together.
with one legend. I'm going with another because this guy, not only is he a legend, not only has he done things that have changed the industry, but he's still doing those things. He's still being the innovator and so passionate. So that's my choice. But either way, I think it'd be a win-win. And maybe we could use this segment of this podcast and pitch it to these gentlemen and get them on. But that would be great.
Well, if you're listening out there, fellas, just go, call us up, podcast at brandthestrategic.com, and we will schedule you right away. Listen, that's great. Great question, by the way, and I hope we didn't disappoint on that, Geoff. I know I didn't let you down with the Rich because you can't say anything about that.
Well, look, I'll do what I can to get Rich on, and then I'm actually doing a panel with Robert Earl at Restaurant Leadership in Arizona. So when I'm on stage with him, I'll plug you also.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you about that. All right, perfect. Well, let's talk about the tech stack. It's a segment we like, top of the tech stack. It's where we talk about if you could recommend anything to an operator today, anything out there that an operator has to have in their tech stack. What is it? What do they have to have right now?
It's a real open question because there's so much in technology and we're so reliant on it in so many ways. And I listened to some of your podcasts before coming on here because I did my homework too on you guys. I thought one thing that you said, Schatz, earlier was, the phone is the new POS. And I think that is probably the most true statement for the restaurant industry to date. But in the world we're living in with delivery getting bigger and bigger and people wanting convenience, especially in your comment about the POS being on your phone, you have to have integration to your POS. You have to have third-party integration because it takes, it relieves so much pressure from the staff, from the kitchen, and puts ownership on the consumer. You have to have some kind of loyalty or retention marketing. I think that's really important.
Yep.
You got to continue every day to work with SEO search and keywords, right? You got to stay front of mind. Mm-hmm. I think that, the cool stuff that's coming between the drones and the AI and the robots, It's going to be unbelievable how our industry is going to continue to evolve and innovate. What I say a lot is no matter what crisis, coming out of the pandemic now hits the world, it hits the restaurant industry harder than anybody. The hospitality industry as a whole. But one thing about our industry is we always come back better than beforehand because we're entrepreneurs at heart. We innovate, we evolve. And that is what's happened so much in the last 16 months. The innovation has been unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And this technology, oh my God, we're playing catch up at a
I wish it wasn't a pandemic that got us there, but we needed it.
Yes, true on all fronts, But
no doubt.
It's continuing it's very exciting to watch the new tech that's coming in.
Agreed.
That is awesome, and thank you for all that. While we touched on it earlier in the show, I'm now going to the official crystal ball moment, a chance we give our guests the opportunity to put on their Kreskin or Miss Cleo hats and predict the future. You've already done an awesome job in terms of predicting the popularity of virtual kitchens even a couple of years ago. So I think this is even one of the most interesting, or you're one of the most interesting people to ask because we're coming back to you to see if you can do it again. How do you see restaurants and dining 2 years from now in relation to hospitality and tech?
I want to make it very clear and just throw out there, I do not have a crystal ball. It's got to be important that everyone knows that. Look, I know, and I love brick and mortar. I'm a brick and mortar guy. I grew up in the restaurant industry. I've been doing this for 30 years. I love restaurants. I love eating out. And we commiserate around food. We celebrate around food. We socialize around food. We need food to what we do every day as people. I also know that 8 years ago, I couldn't cross the street without getting hit by a cab. Now you can't find a cab. And 5 years ago, I couldn't walk down the street without going to a bookstore or a toy store. Now you can't find those either. Brick and mortar will never disappear. And I hope to God nothing ever lets anything like that ever happen. But the convenience of what's going on in the world. I have a 22-year-old daughter. I have an 11-year-old son. And it's funny, somebody said that I'm due for my next child, right? 22, 11, now it's time for the next one. If that kid came out tomorrow, he or she would be holding a phone literally attached to them as they come out of the womb.
Yes, I think they are born with an iPhone now. That is what I heard.
The chip is implanted now. But the innovation of what's going on, the convenience that people are craving nonstop, the idea of virtual will only grow.
Yep.
I mean, quickly you're going to see the virtual food hall where you go. And what sucks is if you're having dinner with 4 people, you got 4 delivery drivers showing up, and you're lucky if you all eat together.
Right.
The virtual food hall will become more prevalent. The things you're going to be able to get delivered to your house is going to be changing and quicker and more exciting. So I just think that the virtual will continue to grow. The immediacy, the convenience factor continue to make that a huge area of development. And due to what's happening in the labor market today, what's going to be coming on from automation, it's going to be difficult for us older generation to accept it, because when we go out to dinner, we want to socialize.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go out to eat with my 11-year-old, he doesn't want to talk to me. He wants to watch something. So the automation is going to continue to disrupt the dining experience as we know it, but can make the convenience factor that much better at every moment.
Yep, I think you touched on a lot of points over there, and a lot of them are spot on for sure. I know my kids, I asked them to call the deli or call a pizza place. They absolutely are not calling. If you can't use your phone to order it, Dad, I'm not calling the deli. I'm just calling to order a sandwich. No way. No way am I talking to anybody. So I hear you, and my kids are a little bit older, but 18, 20, and 21 or whatever they are these days, but it's the same thing. So I agree. Well, listen, let's go to the best segment of the entire podcast. It's the branded quickfire. Oh. It's more Wow Bao. It's the branded quickfire. I'm going to ask you 5 lightning round questions. Geoff, don't think too hard. Just tell me whatever comes into your mind. Are you ready?
Okay. Let's see what happens.
Favorite Peloton instructor? I don't even know. How do we know you ride the Peloton? I'm a Peloton guy. Jimmy's a Peloton guy. I hope you're a Peloton guy.
Not only a Peloton guy, I also teach a spin class once a week.
Oh my God, that's awesome!
Oh my goodness!
All right,
are you virtual?
Peloton.
Can we take your spin class?
You cannot take my spin class. You're welcome to come to Chicago and take my spin class.
All right, hey, don't threaten us with a good time.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be right there.
Favorite Peloton? I love taking Dennis Morton's classes, and I find a Tune Day to be incredibly inspiring.
Dennis Morton. I'm writing this down because
He likes the 80s music. I grew up in the 80s. So
yeah, I've been Haley today. My pop ride with Haley today was fantastic. But I probably don't go as long as you guys. I only go 30 minutes. Geoff, you seem like an hour guy.
Quick fire, Schatzy. Quick fire.
Oh, sorry. You got me crazy with the Peloton. Where are you getting dinner from tonight?
Wherever my wife decides we're eating.
Honest answer.
Good answer. What's your favorite food city in the world?
I was born and raised in New York City, and I miss it every day.
Yeah, Boom. We talked about that.
It's hard to not say Chicago in that answer. Just so you know.
Yeah, well, you're probably gonna get a lot of about saying New York over Chicago, but we'll take it. Favorite place to travel?
We grew up summering on Fire Island, which is an island off the coast of Long Island.
Yeah, we talked about that too, man.
I still take my family every year for at least a week. This past summer went for 2 weeks. There's nothing like Fire Island.
Fire Island is awesome. All right, here we go. This is the big one. If you were to challenge Jimmy Wright to a game of hopscotch, who would you have better odds of beating? Jimmy, stand up and show Geoff what you look like.
I only stand.
Oh, okay.
Standing guy.
We got to show him the whole. You got to get a whole camera view.
I refuse to lose, so I'll just take on both of you and take you both down.
Wow, I gotta tell you, we got Jimmy. Jeff's gonna be at RLC, so we gotta have a little competition. Refusing to lose sounds like Jimmy.
I refuse to lose, but I will tell you, I'm only on episode 3 of Squid Games. I don't know if they do hopscotch in Squid Games or not, so I don't know what rules you guys play by.
My wife finished that. My kids all finished that. I haven't gotten into it yet, but I started looking at it. It looks really weird, man. But I will get into that. But I'm telling you right now, RLC, we are going to get some challenge of something with you and Jimmy. And if I remember, I think they've got in the bar, Jimmy, don't they have the
Yes, they got the shuffleboard.
Here's what we do. Starting next week, we got our bao eating semifinals. How many bao can you eat in 2 minutes? And then we have our championship in November 6th in Chicago. So if you want, we'll send a ton of bao to RLC. We'll sit there and see how many bao you can eat in 2 minutes.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm going to put Jimmy on that one.
I'm excited. I'm ready, and I feel like I'm Rocky Balboa in Rocky 4. I'm not. I will lay it on the line. I will. You're gonna have to be prepared to die to beat me in that competition.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
You have to prepare to
Let's
die.
make that happen, man. And we'll do our podcast from there.
Oh, this is going to be good. Oh, we should definitely do that. All right, Geoff, we've had a lot of fun, and I want to thank you so much for joining us, and really for all your great insights. This was one of the great ones we've had. You did share a wealth of knowledge with our listeners, and we hope they all enjoyed it, and paid attention. We appreciate the hard work you do to support the hospitality industry, not just during this time, but always. If you want to get in touch with Geoff directly, you can email us at podcast@brandedstrategic.com, podcast@brandedstrategic.com, and we'd be happy to help you get in touch with Geoff. To our listeners, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. We know there are literally hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and the fact that you guys continue to come and hang out with us is something we really appreciate and we value.
I was going to say, I can't believe people come out and hang with us, Jimmy, but it's crazy.
I mean, the numbers go up every week. This is awesome. I mean, and by the way, you know why they keep coming? We get guys like Geoff on the call.
That's true. We get
them on the
famous
podcast.
people. We're getting famous people.
Listen, and please join us next time as we welcome our friend Atul Sood, CBO of Kitchen United. You know, you heard us talking about dark kitchens, ghost kitchens, all the virtual things going on. KU is going to be in the house on the next podcast.
Hey, Jimmy, don't forget, Geoff also, not only the best guest, not only a New Yorker, not only a firearm lover, but also made a phenomenally generous offer to all of our listeners today.
Here it comes. Go ahead, Shatsy.
The first 100
card's coming out.
Or podcast emailers, the first 100 will get a lifetime supply of Wow Bao barbecue pork and spicy beef sent to their home, courtesy of Wow Bao and Geoff. And I'm going to add it fulfilled through Goldbelly, our friend Joe Ariel of Goldbelly. So thank you all for that lifetime supply to the first 100 callers. That is awesome. That's the best gift. Not only the best guest, best gift ever.
That's truly amazing. So either you can get Shatsy's personal credit card number, which I will give you, or just order through your regular channel and use Apple Pay, and you'll be fine. Okay, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any exciting guests we have coming up in the future. And better yet, invite a friend to hang out with us the next time, because we want to keep these numbers growing. So until then, a big thank you to Geoff for everything he's done, especially for the treat. That was awesome and a wonderful surprise. This is Jimmy Frischling, your finance guy, signing off, passing it back to my boy Shatsy.
This is Shatsy, a.k.a. the restaurant guy. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Geoff. This was a great hangout. We'll see you next time on the Hangout.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.